Hey guys, welcome back to At the Table. Sydney here, and today I thought we would do a little something different. We're going to be making bread. And now this is a very easy recipe. It's something that you can do in one day, over just a few hours, or you could prolong it and do part of it one day and the rest of it the next day. But we are specifically going to be making focaccia bread. And the reason why we're making focaccia is because it's very forgiving. Easiest bread you can do. You can't overproof it. You can do a variety of flavors to it. It's just really great, really versatile. So to go along with that, I thought we would make one of the recipes from our Med Instead of Meds website called Caponata. And that is a loaded veggie recipe. It's our oven. And it has lots of different vegetables in there, but it's really good either as a sauce, so you could pair it with pasta if you want to, or it's really good on top of bread. So I thought we would make our focaccia bread and then top it with our caponata. The caponata does have a lot of steps that take a little long, so I've already started a few things. One is I had to peel our eggplant and cube it, and then let it sit for about 30 minutes with salt on it. This will help to draw that water out, and that is going to be essentially our goal, is to kind of pull some of that water out. So we did that, then I had to rinse the salt off, and now I'm sauteing it for about 20 to 30 minutes while it breaks down even further. So the salt also helps to begin the breaking down process of the eggplant. We're also going to be chopping up some celery and onions that will go in this, and then we have a couple other vegetable ingredients that will go in. So what we'll start with here is cutting up our celery. So we need about a cup of celery, and we want this to be finely chopped. So, of course, remembering our knife skills, we want to make sure that we have a chef's knife will help us to chop more finely, and we can do that rocking motion. We're holding it correctly, pinching that blade, and then we're watching those fingers, and we're just going to rock the knife so that it will help to finely chop our celery. We just move those fingers down as we go. Now I did about 3 sticks of celery here. I think that should be enough for about a cup. It might actually be a little more than we need, but we'll see how it looks when we're all done. So bread making is something that I have gotten into recently. I started practicing with sourdough in February, and man, it is a lot to learn. We have our first sourdough class coming up on April 26th. So if you're interested specifically in sourdough and how to work with sourdough, how to make sourdough, all of that, we'll be hosting that workshop at the end of this month. But I also did a focaccia bread making class with our Master Gardener volunteers. And we decorated our focaccia and all of that. So I thought that would be a really fun thing for me to show you guys on here. It's a great way to kind of bring an elevated dish to maybe if you have a holiday gathering, Easter's coming up. It's a great thing to, you know, bring to any event, even just a dinner party, things like that. So it is something that not everybody is going to have made focaccia bread or be bringing focaccia bread. So you'll be bringing something that's totally kind of unique to your dinner party. And then the fact that you can customize it. So you can do what we're doing today with the caponata to kind of top it with different yummy ingredients. You can use it to dip. You can use it for sandwiches. We are going to be making focaccia bread pizza this week at my house. And I'm going to do like a chicken and veggie and pesto pizza. And we'll bake it in the oven. It'll kind of be more like a deep dish pizza. So there's lots of options to kind of elevate your focaccia bread and do different things with it. All right, so that was not quite 3 sprigs of celery. So we also need about a cup of onion. And let me go ahead. I did put 2 tablespoons of oil in my pan, and now I'm gonna go ahead and turn that on. So this is an onion that I had used previously for another program. It's already cut in half, which whenever we talk about chopping our onion, we wanna cut it in half, and then we kind of follow along those grooves to chop it up. So there, you've got it in your long slices. We're gonna turn it and do it this way to have some nice diced onion. To go a little bit slower here because these little kind of legs of my onions like to move around. All right, and we need a cup of that. So we'll use I'll just use this whole thing. All right. So I'm just gonna throw all of this into my pan. We'll let it go ahead and start to simmer, and we'll see you guys back in just a second.
Come join us at Roseboro Common in downtown Roseboro for the Alive in the Borough concert series. Enjoy great bands, food trucks, and family fun. Performing Friday, April 25th is Carl Newton's Review Band, sharing their unique blend of R&B, Motown, jazz, and soft rock with a touch of country. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Discover Roseboro. Take root and bloom with us at Alive in the Borough. We will see you there.
Looking for training that leads to a high-demand, high-paying career? Bladen Community College can help you get there. Enroll in our welding program and gain the skills and expertise needed to excel in the industry and secure a successful future. Explore our HVAC program, where you will learn to install and service energy-efficient systems to keep homes and businesses comfortable year-round. Learn more at bladencc.edu or give us a call to get started today.
Hey guys, welcome back. So our onions and celery are all done. They're nice and sauteed. We are now gonna add in our eggplant that has, you can kind of tell it's a little bit dried out. I wouldn't say dried out, it's not the right word, but it's not as, it's kind of starting to break down. It's the turkey. So add all of that together, and we're just gonna mix it up. And then we're gonna add the rest of our ingredients and let this simmer for a good 30 minutes. And it'll start to really thicken up and be a good thing for our topping. So we're gonna add about 14 ounces. You can just get the can that's 14 ounces. I could only find a huge can of tomato puree. You can also just puree your own tomatoes if you would like to do that. So add all of that in. We're gonna do about 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. Little tip for you, I never use the whole can of tomato paste. I end up, use a couple tablespoons and you're done with it. Go ahead and throw it in a freezer bag and put it in the freezer. What I did today was I just pulled it out of the freezer so I can get my other 2 tablespoons, and then I'll put it back in whenever I'm done to save it. So then it's not like you continue to buy tomato paste when you don't need to. It's hard to find a small enough can for what you typically need whenever you're using this. All right. So this is kind of like a tomato-based recipe, but we're also going to be adding a little bit of red wine vinegar in this. So it's almost a sweet and sour mixture that we get from these different flavors. All right, we're going to add a little bit of oregano. Just about a teaspoon. I'm going to eyeball here. And then our last 2 ingredients are capers and olives. So, let me get this open. If you've never had capers, they're kind of like, how do I describe them? Mini olives, maybe. They're a little bit sour, or they kind of have that vinegar flavor, but because they're so small, they give a nice little pop with the vinegar. All right, looks good. These are really yummy to really add to most of your pasta dishes. I like to keep them on hand for that. And then we're gonna add our olives, and we've just got about 15 olives. We're gonna You can either buy the pre-sliced ones or you can kind of chop them up yourselves. I think I'm just gonna try to quickly run my knife through here. And those capers kind of have that similar flavor. So we've got a little Italian flair going today with our focaccia bread and our caponata. And some people would say, oh, well, like bread's not very healthy for you to eat that much bread. Or the one thing that is really tough is to find a bread that is, to make a bread homemade that is whole grain, simply because the whole grain flour, you need the right kind of mixture, texture, all of that to make it have good flavor. But if you're making it with a dish like this, that you're getting a lot of those vegetables in, which can contribute to that good fiber, add some more vitamins and minerals to your dish, then it can be a great complement to any meal, any recipe. So we're not all about absolutes in what we teach here in Extension. There is always room for all foods. It's just a matter of kind of pairing it with the right things and trying to maximize those vitamins and minerals that we're eating. So that smells delicious. We're gonna let this kind of simmer for just a little bit and help some of that water, that moisture just to evaporate. It's already pretty thick, but we of course still want it to continue to thicken up. And at the end, we will add a few more ingredients. We'll be adding salt, a little bit of vinegar, and then also a little bit of sugar to offset some of that vinegar that we got from our capers, our olives, and then what we're adding. So that is all that we are going to be doing for this caponata. We will go ahead and take a quick break. I'll reset up and I'll show you guys how to start our focaccia bread.
We find in life that some things just go together, like peanut butter and jelly, cheese and crackers, steak and potatoes, and of course, milk and cookies. But the bottle and the throttle are never a good combination. Be smart, be safe, be responsible. Don't drink and drive.
Hey guys, Sydney and Jesse here from At the Table.
Are you enjoying the show? We want to hear from you.
We have a quick survey where you can tell us things you've learned, recipes you've tried, and how the show has impacted you. You'll be entered into a grand prize drawing. Check out our link or scan the QR code for more info.
Thank you for tuning in and cooking with us at the table.
All right, guys, welcome back. So we are going to get started on making our bread now while this finishes simmering. And first thing is to, of course, put all of our ingredients in our bowl. So I have a scale here, and this is key when it comes to bread making. You can absolutely use measuring utensils to go by the recipe, because the recipe does give both options. But for a better yield, for it to do better, it's great to use a scale here, especially for your flour and your water. That has a big impact on how your dough will turn out. However, we're making focaccia bread, and remember I said this is the easiest bread you can make. Sourdough, absolutely you need a scale. It will not work. All the things won't work until you get more comfortable with the way the consistency and things are supposed to look. To start with, for a good while, you will need a scale to make sure things come out properly. Focaccia is extremely forgiving, so if you mess up, you use too much of something, it's fine, it'll work out, it's all good. So to start with, we are going to be using a mix of flours. Now I have bread flour here. This is a little pricey to do bread flour. The key with bread flour is it's a little bit higher in protein. So our yeast really likes higher protein. Think about when we eat protein, part of it is repairing our muscles, helps us to stay nice and strong. Really great for repairing, strengthening, all of that. Higher protein breads help to strengthen the gluten that is in the bread so that it will keep the strands intact, help it to get nice and fluffy and tasty. So we like gluten. If you have any gluten intolerances, I can't help you. I've not made a lot of gluten-free bread, but it is an art because bread does thrive on gluten, and that's what helps to give your bread structure. So we're going to use a mix. You can absolutely use all-purpose flour for this recipe. Just because I want my bread to behave today, I'm going to use a little bit more bread flour, and I'm almost out of all-purpose. And I have kind of started one of our dough ahead of time just because there are a few extra steps that we don't have time for today. And I did use all bread flour for that one because I need it to behave and do what it's supposed to do. So if you want good behavior, I would choose a higher protein flour like bread flour or a mix of whole wheat and all-purpose. If you don't really care about good behavior, you could just try your all-purpose. I'm sure it would probably be fine as well. When I do classes, I need everything to stay in line, do what it's supposed to do. So I'm going to use about that much regular all-purpose flour, and then we're going to use not quite 100 grams of bread flour. Ooh, that was way too much. So you start with your flour. The great thing about this is it's just a few ingredients. So we just have flour, water, salt, and yeast. We need about 10 grams of salt. Salt is important for your flavor in your bread. If you leave salt out, it will not taste good. So don't forget the salt. It's only about 10 grams, which is like 2 teaspoons, so it's not much. And then we have about 8 grams of yeast. This is instant yeast. You can also do the slower, it'll either say rapid rise or instant. You can buy the other one that's just like active dry yeast. You can do that as well. The recipe that I'm gonna link does have instructions for that. You basically just put the yeast in water and let it start to bubble, activate, bubble, all of that for about 15 minutes. And then you can add it to your bread the same way we do instant yeast. And then our last ingredient is that water. So we have about 2 cups of water. This needs to be lukewarm water, so it will help to activate the yeast. If you do too hot, it could kill the yeast. Too cold, it won't be warm enough to activate our yeast. This is where I get a little fast. And I just wanted to show you, I measured 2 cups because my recipe calls for 2 cups. However, I just went 2 grams over and there's still water left. So that's what I mean by measuring tools are not quite as accurate as something like a scale. So, real simple. We are just gonna mix this all together. What you'll be left with is kind of a nice shaggy dough. So I'm gonna show you what that will look like real quick. So with focaccia bread, usually this is more of what we call a high hydration bread. So it has a little bit more water. It stays pretty sticky. It usually has some big holes in it as well. All of that is normal with focaccia. We're not spending a lot of time kneading or any of that. So this makes this recipe really easy and manageable to do. So we're just kind of forming our dough ball. This is what it will look like. You want to make sure everything's mixed together well, but we're not, overdoing our mixture. And then We're gonna let this rise. Now for a same day bread, we're gonna put a towel over the top, let it sit for 1.5 to 2 hours until it is about doubled. So we're gonna let this sit to the side. We will be back in just a second to finish up our focaccia bread.
When we're connected, American communities thrive. As the internet connects more Americans every year, access to robust and reliable broadband is more important than ever for rural communities. The Universal Service Fund enables affordable, high-quality broadband, improves healthcare outcomes with access to telehealth options, gives children the education for a bright future, and allows business growth and job creation. The Universal Service Fund is expanding and sustaining connectivity for all, because when we're connected, America thrives.
Looking to refresh your home? At Clinton Appliance and Furniture, we've got everything you need to create the perfect space. We're here to help make your house a home with stylish furniture, appliances, flooring, design services, delivery, and repair. Visit ClintonAppliance.com to explore our selection or visit us at 401 Northeast Boulevard in Clinton. Shop local, shop smart, shop Clinton Appliance and Furniture.
All right, so we have our dough. We went ahead and pushed the other one to the side, and I wanted to show you guys a little bit. So we do have a video clip that we filmed of me getting the dough to this point. So what you're gonna see is your dough will rise. This one rose about 3 times the size of what the original dough was. And then what you wanna do is deflate your dough. This is if it's a same day bread. So you deflate it really well, and I went ahead and showed a few stretch and folds. So that's where I'm lifting the dough up and bringing it back down onto itself. That just helps to kind of make the gluten structure stronger. And then we are gonna spray our pan really well, oil your pan, and then dump that dough into our pan. Roll it around in the oil so that it's nice and coated, and leave it alone. And what will happen is that you will then be left with this lovely bread right here. And so you can see how it has started to spread out in the pan. It's almost taken over my entire 9x13 dish. A few things that I did want to note. For one, I sprayed with cooking spray on the pan, and then I also put olive oil in it. The cooking spray, I have used this pan before. I have used others like round cake glass dishes. Glass dishes tend to stick really bad. So if you have another option, the recipe calls for 2 cake pans or a 9x13. Metal is best. I've done the metal cake pans. I've also done, we have glass kind of pie pans. I've used both of those. The glass always sticks. So I added a little extra layer to just hopefully prevent the sticking, but we'll see how this one does. Just keep that in mind. A better pan would probably be a metal pan if you have one of those. So what we're gonna do next, I'm gonna do a little bit of olive oil. Olive oil or oil in general is kind of essential to focaccia bread because it helps to really coat the bread fibers in this and kind of makes the bread like nice and loose and stretchy, which is what focaccia bread is all about. So it's kind of, you can see some of my bubbles that are pushing out. That is what creates the holes. That is gas that is emitted from that yeast being fed, and it emits this gas, and that is kind of what helps your dough to rise. So what I'm gonna do is, before I really dimple my bread, I'm gonna start doing my seasonings. And you could absolutely do like fresh rosemary here, basil, any other seasonings you have. I'm just gonna be real simple and try to choose things you probably have in your kitchen. A little Italian seasoning. We're doing Italian today with the Caponata, so. And then a little garlic powder because I love garlic. Fresh garlic, if you take fresh cloves of garlic and roast them in the oven and then nestle those into your bread, totally different world. It's so good. And then I like the big flake salt here. This is like the large flake kosher salt. If you have some of that, that is really yummy on this bread. If not, regular, salt will be fine as well. And then what we're gonna do is take your hands and do what's called dimple. So you're just kind of dimpling your fingers into this, and this will help to kind of get those seasonings down in there. Helps the bubbles to pop out. And the part that's fun, that can really take this to the next level, is decorating it. Before I do that, I'm gonna add a little bit of extra olive oil on top. Just gonna lightly drizzle as best as I can. And we'll just kind of spread it around there. This will help give it that nice like golden color. And we're dimpling some more. Just get that olive oil deep in there. This is a fun one to do. All right, so now we're just gonna decorate. So you can add a little bit of peppers, make it like little flowers if you want to. Throw an olive in the middle. How cute is that? We use chives in my class to make a stem for our flowers. So if you have some chives, those are great. I did not buy any this time, so we're just gonna do a bunch of little flowers. And your peppers and stuff will, roast in the oven as well, so it just helps to elevate the flavors even more. These are those tiny, small, little snack-sized peppers. And if you just cut off the ends and continue to cut, it will help to create these cute little designs. Or kind of make them into this shape, I guess. And you can do any flavor. So as I mentioned, you can do kind of a pizza. Well, this could be a base for pizza. All different kinds of stuff, but make it your own, make it pretty. You can throw some onions in there. Do a few onions. Just gonna throw, one of my class participants made a cute little Easter basket. So all kinds of neat things. Get creative, have some fun. We're gonna do this with our kids this summer for our 4-H cooking camps. So if you want some kids to learn this, you can do that with them as well. So now we are gonna throw this in the oven, and it will take about 25 to 30 minutes at 425. We'll show you guys what that looks like. To finish off our caponata, it is all done over here. I'm just gonna add our last couple of ingredients. For one, we are doing a little bit of sugar, a tablespoon of sugar. This will help to kind of give it a sweet and sour flavor. And then we have about 3 tablespoons of that red wine vinegar. I'm sure other vinegars would be fine here. A white wine vinegar would as well. A white vinegar. This kind of flows with our tomato sauce flavor. And then we just need a little salt and pepper. Real simple. Now, if you like it more sour, you could add a little bit more of that vinegar flavor yourself. You know, taste it and adjust to your preferences. So just mix it all together and it is done. So what I will do, I'll show you guys what this looks like topped on top of our focaccia once it is all done. Thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll see you next time on At the Table.